do you get when you combine anime, violence, and video game developer WayForward all together into one package? You would get the incredible video game known as River City Girls. Now this video game is all around amazing. It includes everything I personally love and more. On the surface, this game looks like just a regular beat-em-up type game, but this game is so much more than that. It honestly might be one of my favourite games I've ever played. There's so much that this game does right. I know that this is only the introduction, but let me tell you why this game is a masterpiece in 3 words. You can dab.
What?
Okay, the game is much more than just stupid dabbing. So let's take the world on and sing this dope song while I get into all the reasons why I believe River City Girls is the best of the genre, and my pick for one of my favourite games. Yep, we are getting right into this video, so sit back, because this is gonna be a long one.
That's what she said!
Don't need an overachiever. Bad girls are just bad news. What I'm looking for is a special class of girl who can kick my ass. I need myself a River City girl.
There are no words, just pictures.
Just like the novel I'm writing. The plot's there, but the characters are all over the place. Oh wait, I can't read.
Before we get started, I quickly want to mention what this game is based on. River City Girls is a spin-off of the River City and Kunio-kun games. Now the company Arc System Works owns the license to River City, so this game is a bit of a collaboration between both WayForward and Arc. In this video, I'll mainly be focusing on River City Girls as its own game in this review though. I'm also playing the PS4 version of the game. With that out of the way, what is the story of River City Girls? Well, to sum it up, you play as either Kyoko or Misako, not to be confused with Misaka from Railgun. And one day at school during detention, you find out that your boyfriends Kunio and Riki have been kidnapped. So Kyoko and Misako leave their boring detention and set out to rescue their boyfriends. The plot itself is basic, but that's all it needs to be. Just the simple motivation to push you to progress through the story. It's the story moments that happen on your quest to save your boyfriends that make it interesting though, and one of the reasons why I love this game is how the story is presented to the player. You will either have regular dialogue boxes, manga cutscenes, or fully animated clips. Each one of these is full of personality and greatly entertaining to watch. My favourite type in a manga cutscenes. There aren't many of them, but each one of them is full of personality and incredibly charming. They also provide most of the backstory for the protagonists and the bosses. This is just one example of how the creators of River City Girls really cared about the game and wanted to make it the best it could be. Throughout River City, you'll run into tons of different characters, all with unique personalities. Whenever Kyoko or Misako interact with the characters, a full conversation will play out. These, along with all the dialogue written in the game, are expertly written, and the amount of times I found myself genuinely laughing at these conversations these characters had were too many to count.
Oh yeah! It says, blocked collar. That's a weird name. Damn it. Of course it would be blocked. Oh, you know him?
This is also largely due to how these people are characterized within the story. Every character is fully unique and fully voice acted. That voice acting of the characters is also very entertaining as well. This one conversation here is one of my favorites.
Isn't she the cutest little doggy ever? Guess what her name is?
Garbage face. What was her dog's name?
Oh, her dog's name is Dog. But like, D-A-W-G dog, you know? Like how the cool kids say it?
I hate everything about this conversation.
I deeply relate to Misako here. You can tell the voice actors were having a ton of fun recording their lines. These interactions between characters are also important to the story, as each conversation provides character development and allows you to get to know them and their backstory. So by the time you beat the final boss and get to the ending, you feel like you fully understand each character's motivations, making the overall game even stronger as a result. You know what isn't strong though? The original ending. Time for spoilers. I'm just going to talk about the whole game from this point onward, so yeah. Spoilers for a nearly year-old game. 3, 2, 1, dab. So the ending was probably one of my main issues with the game, until it got fair-nosed away with the latest patch. More on that later. But originally, Kyoko and Misako defeat the final boss using the power of love and friendship, and smash out of the building window, crashing into a spa. And turns out, Kunio and Ricky, the people we have been spending the whole game trying to rescue, have been chilling out at the spa the whole time. Now this would be fine on its own, as I found it pretty funny, but turns out, Kunio and Ricky basically have no idea who Kyoko or Masako even are, just referring to them as the girls from earlier. Then it turns out that Hasabe and Mami, the rival characters of this game, probably should have mentioned that earlier, were actually Kunio and Ricky's girlfriends the whole time. Kyoko and Masako of course get extremely angry and punch the so-called boyfriends into the stratosphere. Few credits.
You serious?
That was my reaction to the ending. I see what WayForward was going with here, as they do actually foreshadow it throughout the story, and on repeat playthroughs it is pretty obvious, but the issue is it doesn't make for a very satisfying ending. When I finished the game and the credits started rolling, I kind of felt empty. Your goal as the player isn't actually achieved, and nothing is really accomplished. It just felt disappointing. That was my main complaint with the game, but overall as a whole package, the story itself is good. It's entertaining and put a smile on my face from beginning to end. And the ending itself was the only issue I had with the story. However, there is a secret ending, and with the latest patch, my issue is basically fixed. But before I get to that, to unlock the secret ending, you need to actually play the game. So let's talk about...
You are still here?
Yeah, we thought we'd hang out, catch some rays.
This isn't a game.
The gameplay. So what do you do in River City Girls? You beat up people and you steal their lunch money. And there's only one rule.
Don't die!
Okay, but really though, the best way to describe the gameplay of River City Girls is Streets of Rage but better. It's a beat 'em up after all. The game is essentially sectioned off into 6 different levels, each with individual rooms full of enemies you need to take out. Each level gives you a main objective to work towards, then ending with a boss battle. Each of these individual missions don't require you to do anything outstanding, but they're still plenty of fun. Some missions are kinda unique, like buying a double Merv burger for Godai, or trying to figure out the name of a dog, but each one requires you to play the game, beating up enemies at the end of the school day. So the main thing this game needs to get right is your own controls and abilities, otherwise these missions wouldn't be any fun then, would they? Luckily, the core gameplay of River City Girls is its strongest element. Each character has several different moves and abilities. Some you can unlock by leveling up and defeating enemies, or by buying with the money you steal. These moves are some of the most creative attacks I've seen in the game. Every character has plenty of moves, almost all of which feel useful and fun to pull off. Kyoko, fully upgraded for example, has a basic attack of a 6-hit combo, ending with a heavy move. She can go back chop, snap kick, crescent kick, hook kick, heel kick, and if you want, you can end it with a donkey kick.
The real jackass move!
Aside from those, Kyoko also has ground stomp, human weapon, volleyball set, flip kick, dab, spin kick, dragon feet, afro circus, cheer drill, handstand kick, back elbow, volleyball save, double drop kick, gut punch, kick toss, pogo kick, grab heel kick, Frankensteiner, volley spike, butt bump, head stomp, and an air cheer drill. That's a lot of moves, and somehow none of them feel useless and display the character's personality really well through the gameplay. I almost always alternate between moves when I'm playing, just because of how fun it is. She also has a block and a power move, but I usually just had to remind myself to use it. It's not useless, I just don't use it for my sort of play style. The animation for parrying as Kyoko is great though. She pulls out her phone and does a selfie to block the enemy's attack. Oh yeah, there's this cool Easter egg where if you zoom in on Kyoko's phone, you can actually see that Kyoko is subscribed to my YouTube channel. What? And she follows me on Twitter at SpeedsterCreate1? Wow, that's amazing. I'm nearly at 1,000 subscribers, and I need to reach that by the end of the year to get monetized. So now, you too can give this video a like, and you too can subscribe, so I can finally get paid. Okay, fine, I'll get back to the video. All these moves are unique to Kyoko. That means Masako also has just as many unique moves. And that's not the end of it. When you do beat the game, you unlock Kunio and Ricky as playable characters, and both of them also have unique movesets. This attention to how each character feels and attacks is a large part to why this game is so fun to play, even just to watch. You can really feel the punch of every move you make, if that makes any sense. Oh yeah, I kinda skimmed over them a bit there. The enemies, you got school students, cheerleaders, the Yakuza, and even Arnold Schwarzenegger to name a few. Each enemy is unique, and every enemy has their own movesets you will need to learn to understand the best way to defeat them. This makes it so the constant enemy encounters never feel stale and repetitive, which is kind of important in a beat 'em up like this one. I love how during these fights the background characters are just standing there like,
they're gonna kill themselves. Wanna watch?
Yeah, alright.
One small issue that happened to me a few times with the enemies was that sometimes during fights, I would attack an enemy close to the edge of the screen with one of my grab attacks, but either the enemy would die behind a wall so I wouldn't be able to grab the money they dropped, or worse, they would get back up behind the wall, sometimes making them impossible to defeat. Luckily, this never happened to me on the occasions where you need to defeat all the enemies, but if it did, you'd have to restart. So that's not great. Fortunately, it only happened to me a few times across multiple playthroughs, so it wasn't a big deal. Another mechanic is that there is a chance that the final enemy standing will beg for mercy. This is where the recruit system comes in. If someone begs for mercy, you can recruit them and have them as an extra little attack. Basically a partner you can call in at any time.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
I never really used these much, as I found attacking the enemies regularly worked fine without the recruits, but either way it's a nice little addition. But what if taking these enemies on is just too difficult for you? That's where the shops come into play. There are several different shops throughout River City, each with unique items you can buy with the money you steal. Some shops sell food items that regenerate your HP, like sundaes, lasagna, and game cartridges, and others give you proper items like a virtual pet or spiked knuckles, which give you various buffs like extra damage and increasing item durability. These are very useful and add lots of replay value to the game. Wait, items. I haven't mentioned items yet. You can grab tons of different items off the ground like boomerangs, copyright infringements, and baseball bats to help take out the enemies. These also add more variety to the gameplay, making the game more fun as a result. Sometimes the collision on the items can feel a bit wonky, but that's a minor issue in the grand scheme of things, and 99% of the time it works perfect, so yeah. I know I've mentioned a lot of mechanics here, but trust me, none of it is overwhelming, and each mechanic seamlessly incorporates itself into regular combat, making none of the mechanics feel out of place or unnecessary. There's also a co-op mode, but I never played it much. After all, my motto for co-op is,
there is no sacrifice greater than someone else.
Another little aspect of the gameplay is these Sabu statues that you can find around the game world. They act as another little side objective you can do, and if you destroy all 25 of them, you unlock a special reward. This isn't the only other side objective, as when you beat the game you unlock a New Game Plus mode. This mode acts as any other New Game Plus mode. Enemies are tougher, and you keep everything from your previous playthrough. The main difference with New Game Plus, though, is that WayForward basically said,
Come on, cat, we gotta go!
and placed a bunch of cats all around River City. These act the same as the Sabu statues, and when you find them all, you unlock a special cat pin, which gives infinite SP, allowing you to perform endless special attacks. It's a nice little reward for your efforts. Each of these aspects are nice little additions to the game, adding more variety to your objectives in the game, overall making River City Girls more fun to complete if you're going for 100% completion, which is something I personally really appreciate. So yeah, the gameplay of River City Girls is really good. It's fun, it's entertaining, and it has the perfect variety of mechanics, so the core gameplay loop doesn't get stale. Now, if only there were enemies in this game that put up a much larger challenge than the regular encounters. I think it's pretty obvious I'm talking about the—
Ladies, welcome to my lair.
FBI, open up!
The boss battles in River City Girls are for the most part really good. There are only 7 bosses in the game, but each one is unique in their own way, and all very memorable. This is especially because each boss encounter begins with a little introduction animation. These are all expertly animated and provide a really good introduction for the people you're about to beat up, and every one of them is unique, which I love. Before each boss begins, Kyoko and Misako have a little conversation with the boss, basically telling you why you want to slap him into the ground. Some bosses also begin with a little backstory manga cutscene. These bosses tend to be my favourite just because they have the most personality, and it makes them the most memorable. The actual character designs for these bosses are also super creative, and communicate everything about the character with no words, like every great character design should. Each boss also has their own unique attack style and gimmick, which makes each encounter always fun to fight against. Yamada, for example, uses different magic attacks like teleportation and this Premier attack. You can also kick him off the edge of the building. And Sabuko has different elemental attacks, and can also clone herself, making for some quick-thinking gameplay.
I found you, faker!
Again, creativity all around when it comes to bosses. Now my second favourite boss is actually the secret boss. This secret boss is perfect. It's perfectly built up and a great surprise. The secret boss is against Hasebe and Mami. Now this is perfect because throughout the whole game from beginning to end, Hasebe and Mami have been taunting you, making fun of you, and it just makes it so you want to punch them in the face so bad. Hasebe and Mami are the real villains of River City Girls, so it's so satisfying to finally be able to give them what they deserve, and WayForward knows it.
Bring it on, Masako.
Finally!
The dialogue in this fight is also great too. They make fun as to how Sabuko is meant to be the final boss, and how Kunio and Riki only dated Kyoko and Masako for one game that wasn't even released in the USA. I love this kind of fourth wall breaking humour. So I may be kinda biased. Again, these bosses are just another example of why River City Girls is so great. You may have noticed I said Hasebe and Mami were my second favourite boss. So who's my actual favourite boss in the game? Well, that would be Nozomi, or as everyone else calls this famous singer, Noise.
I said, are you ready to rock?
Noise is my favourite boss because of how unique and creative the boss fight is. She also has a manga backstory, which is adorable and great. I love the connection between Kyoko and Noise, with how they met as kids and everything. It makes you feel for Noise even more, and makes Kyoko even more likeable than she already is.
But I don't think the kids here want to be friends. Not with a dingle butt like me.
I'll be your friend. Surprise hug!
Oh,
Let's be best friends, yeah?
I'd like that.
Half the boss is a Guitar Hero challenge where you jump over the notes, and the other half is fighting Noise. She can teleport, swing a guitar, and much more. The atmosphere of this fight is amazing as well. It's set at a rock concert, so while you're fighting, you also need to take care of crazy fans from the audience. This fight is just so creative. I wish the other bosses in the game had gimmicks as unique as Noise's, but they're all still really good in their own right. So every boss in the game is great and memorable, but Noise is the clear standout. But the main reason why Noise is the standout boss is because of her theme. Noise's theme is incredible. It just works so well with the fight and the Guitar Hero aspect of it. It just feels awesome going through the fight as the song changes with each phase. I just love it. Now that I've made a brilliant segue into talking about music, let's talk about the soundtrack. For me personally, the music of a video game is a big selling point. I listen to a lot of music, so I like it when video games have incredible and memorable soundtracks. It's why games like Celeste and A Hat in Time are among my favourites. Luckily, the entire soundtrack composed by Megan McDuffie is absolutely great. Just walking between rooms in the game is made 10 times better by the variety of music to listen to. The synth pop style of music is unique to River City Girls and very memorable. Most of the music in River City Girls is arcade-style fighting music. Each track perfectly fits the mood of the location you're fighting in, and some of the music in the game is also a direct reference to past Kunio-kun games. The song Don't Give Her, for example, is a rearranged version of the main theme from Downtown Monogatari. I love these little types of details in games. It shows that Megan McDuffie really knows her stuff when adding in references into music. The same applies for the boss music in the game. This is how you create great video game music. Just listen to some of these tracks. My favourite songs in the game, however, are definitely the vocal themes. The first time I played the game, when I got to the room where the first vocal track played, I didn't even want to leave the room out of fear that the song would stop playing. It was just so good. The same experience happened to me every time a vocal track played. It made my overall playthrough at least an hour longer, which is not a bad thing by any means. The only other time this happened was with Sonic Mania. Just listen to some of these vocal tracks and you'll see what I mean.
Let's get this party started right!
I don't care what you pay, just watch me walk away. Kill the lights, gonna fight, don't you hassle me on this ride. Feel the spite, won't play nice, don't you bully me. You'll want to run and hide.
If I had to make a nitpick about the music, I guess some people might find the vocal tracks too similar to each other, but I personally love each song in the game, so it's not an issue for me personally. Thought I should mention it though, because music is so subjective. The main theme and credits theme are also some of the best themes in the game. The main theme is basically an anime OP, which I love, and the credits theme, sung by Nate Wants to Battle, is incredible. Before I played River City Girls for the first time, I'd been listening to Nate's music for a while, and I had no idea he sang a song for this game, so when the song started playing, I think I reacted accordingly.
Some girls are sweeties.
I want to talk about Noise again quickly. The character Noise is actually the singer of the vocal songs in the game, so the use of Noise's music throughout the game actually helps to anticipate her boss fight, without the player even knowing it, meaning the soundtrack has transcended being just background music, which I think more games should really do. And each room that has vocal music has a little stereo sitting around playing the music. It's a small detail, but one that I think is really clever. Now earlier I mentioned that River City Girls got an update. Now this update, just like the music, makes the whole game somehow even better. So let's talk about the patch. This patch somehow managed to fix most of my problems of the game. The enemy behind the wall glitch is still there, but my other issues have been addressed. You may be wondering why I mentioned issues with the game, if they don't exist anymore. Well, the River City Girls game I played originally had these issues, and although WayForward has addressed them, simply ignoring how the game was first released kind of sets a bad example that really seems to be getting popular lately, so I didn't want to do that. One issue that was fixed was really more of an oversight. In the game pre-patch, the change between rooms, you just had to tap the attack button. Now this caused some unnecessary frustration. Most of the time when I attempted to punch a cheerleader near the door, I would accidentally trigger the next room. Now this is more frustrating when you realise the enemies respawn each time you leave. But of course, WayForward heard the cries of the people and said, okay, you need to hold down the button now, crybabies. This completely eliminates the issue and doesn't slow down the pace of the game. It's awesome. But the big issue that this update patched was that they changed the ending.
Marmalade and sugar songs, peanuts in a bitter step, too sickly sweet and bitter since my head into a spin.
Their ending is now much better. Now when you beat the secret ending, Kyoko and Masako kick the final boss out of the window and crash into the spa like before, but now, instead of nothing being accomplished, Kunio and Ricky decide, well, these girls have seen us showering, might as well take them to McDonald's or something. So now that Kyoko and Masako have reunited with Kunio and Ricky, it feels like your goal of saving them has finally been accomplished. Yeah, this ending is much better than the previous ending. It's not a perfect ending to this game, but it's definitely an improvement. The fact that the creators patched the game to include these small little improvements says a lot about why WayForward is one of my favourite companies, and how they want their games to be the best they can be, and how they do listen to fan criticism. Quick side note thing, I love WayForward's Twitter team and how much they interact with their fans. I asked them a question for this video on Twitter, and they responded. I asked them what their favourite part of River City Girls was. They said the dap.
Did somebody say boom?
And everyone else agreed. Now that I've talked about the patch, it's time for my favourite section of the review. If you watched my Sonic movie review, you would know what I'm talking about, but chances are you probably didn't. It's time for...
And I will rule the world! All hail Plankton! All hail
The part of the review where I talk about stuff that wouldn't fit naturally into the review. Yep, aren't I creative? Now originally I wanted to have a whole section of this review dedicated to the various Easter eggs in the game, but midway through writing the script, I found this incredible video by Gaming Capsules that goes over literally every reference and Easter egg in the game. The video is actually incredible and I highly recommend watching it if you want to learn about the secrets and hidden references within River City Girls. It even taught me a lot about the original Kunio-kun series that this game is based on, and it has increased my overall appreciation and respect towards the game, making me love River City Girls even more than I already did. Some of the facts I've mentioned so far in this review I actually learned from this video, like the fact about the soundtrack. So yeah, check it out. I still want to mention some Easter eggs and other things though that I found really cool. So turns out, both of my favourite video games, River City Girls and A Hat in Time, make the same reference. A JoJo reference. During one of Kyoko's attacks, there is a chance that she will say the phrase "Aura, Aura, Aura," an obvious reference to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This game is actually incredible. Another thing I learned after watching this video was that almost every single character in this game are from past Kunio-kun games. The enemies, the bosses, the NPCs, the shopkeepers, so many characters. This whole time I thought almost each character was fully original, except for some of the Double Dragon cameos like Abobo and the Game Grumps. Each of these previous characters have been redesigned to fit the River City Girls art style, and it just gave myself a much larger appreciation for River City Girls, WayForward, and Arc System works as a whole. The animation for all the sprite work in the game is also great. It's honestly some of the best sprite work I've seen, rivaling games like Sonic Mania and Celeste. Almost all of the animations are super fluid and allow you to really feel the impact of what you're doing in the game. Some of the freeze frames I've captured from the animations are hilarious. Speaking of sprites, the pixel art as a whole across the whole game is amazing. Every location in River City has so much detail and care put into it, and it visually just looks gorgeous. You can see leaves blowing in the wind, flies around dumpsters, school students and regular people just hanging around. River City really feels like a real place, and this makes the act of simply looking at the game cool. There are so many games these days that just look the same, but River City Girls looks and feels unique. One thing this game does really well is the presentation of everything. Everything feels very River City Girls, and unique to this game, adding tons of personality. The main pause menu, for example, is each character's phone. This is such a cool detail, and when you look at the River City map, the phone flips to landscape mode.
Keep moving.
I'll help you wrestle that book cover to cover. And under the covers, too.
All right. Now let's get rid of this.
What do you mean? We'll just delete the files.
No.
Each character even has a unique phone of their own. Misako's is pure black and cracked, showing her tougher personality. Kyoko's phone is colourful and fun. Kunio's phone is similar to Misako's but red, and Ricky's phone is a purple flip phone, further adding more characterization to the characters. Even the loading screen icon is just Misako and Kyoko punching each other. That's just great. Even the tutorial text boxes have Easter eggs. The little sprites that pop up when you get a tutorial text box are actually the sprites from the original River City Ransom. The only bad thing to do with the presentation is strangely the title screen. It's just this weird fire effect I find off. It's weirdly out of place with the art style of this game and looks kinda cheap. It's the only time in the game with something like this, except for the boss battle versus card things. But it works there, so I don't know. I'm just nitpicking. Oh yeah, at River City High there's this little area where you can play dodgeball, and if you play dodgeball with a friend you can get a trophy. So that's cool. There was even a picture of the main character from Cat Girl Without Salad. I love little Easter eggs like that. The trophy list even has some funny jokes and references. One trophy is called River City Ransom, great reference. The trophy for defeating a Bobo is called a bye-bye. That got a chuckle out of me. And the trophy you get for unlocking Kunio and Ricky as playable characters is called a new challenger. Nice Smash Brothers reference. There are so many reasons why River City Girls is such a great game, but at the moment, I think I've said everything I wanted to. I wish I could talk more about River City Girls, but as I'm writing the script, I'm kinda struggling to think of anything else that I really wanted to say, so let's hurry up and finish this review.
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!
Dude? Why are you still talking?
No one wants to hear that, man!
Dude, the movie's wrapping up. People are trying to get out of here.
I think River City Girls might just be the best beat-em-up game I've played, maybe even my favourite game in general. I finished this game 6 to 7 times now, I'm pretty sure, fully leveled up every character, 100%ed the game almost twice and got the Platinum Trophy, and the game somehow still isn't boring. The moment-to-moment gameplay is so fun, and the controls and abilities you have are so creative. The presentation of the game itself with its cutscenes and dialogue is so full of charm, and every character is full of personality. The boss fights all around are unique and super memorable, and the soundtrack is of course amazing. The pixel art visuals of the game are expertly well done, and there are so many details and references that just show the time and effort put into making River City Girls the best it could be. Throughout this review, I've been doing nothing but praising this game, and I've barely mentioned any big issues, but that's only because this game doesn't have many issues. Every issue I've mentioned in this review are the only things in the whole game I had problems with, and the biggest of those got fixed with the latest patch. Man, this game is just great overall. And luckily, WayForward has confirmed that there is more River City Girls content on the way, so this isn't the last time we'll be seeing Kyoko and Misako. I can guarantee you that I will be buying the next River City Girls game day one. I just had so much fun with this game, and I still am. And if you yourself haven't bought this game yet, please just buy it, it's good. I highly recommend it. It's on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, PC. You really have no reason not to buy it, unless you hate fun. WayForward might just be one of my favourite companies at this point. You guys have created something that I believe is really special, and every team member who worked on it should be extremely proud of themselves. I can't wait to see what's next for Kyoko and Misako. Anyway, that is why River City Girls, in my factual opinion, is the best of the genre, and my pick for one of my personal favourite games.
Last night I took my boo on a nice romantic date, and I went to pay the check, and she cracked my skull with a pasta plate. Said I don't mean no harm, and then she broke my arm, and that's the kind of charm that I appreciate. I've always got a concussion, not for a day. My spine's been fractured 6 times. The fastest way to this boy's heart is to take me down with martial arts. I can't quit these River City Girls. Will I survive these